Welcome back to Preparing for the Unexpected. Today we are talking with Des O'Callahan and his experiences and skills and things he's sharing with us in his extensive time with the business continuity and resilience industry. Des, lots of great information you're sharing. This is really good. I hope some of the newer generation is listening in our industry because sometimes you can't just learn what's in a textbook. Sometimes you really do have to listen to people that have been there,
So
that have been
true.
in the trenches. So I really appreciate you sharing all your insights here. It is great to hear and gets me thinking and reminiscing about some of
Yeah,
my trenches days.
right on. Yeah, yeah.
So let's ask you, what do you think one of the biggest skills we should have as resilience and business continuity professionals, or even a couple of skills?
Ooh, well, that's a good question. And you, you did give me a heads up. You might ask me that question. So I've given it a little bit of thought. And it's certainly very difficult to say that there's one single skill above all others. I mean, I think in general, the the kinds of skills or abilities or competencies we need to have to be good this kind of work clearly involve things such as analytical thinking or creativity. Um, in fact, it's a quick side note. I mean, the BCI, as you know, accredits people or certifies them on the strength of their demonstrated competency in the six sort of BCM practices. But in recent years, have also expanded that viewpoint to say, well, we need other things. We need leadership. We need the ability to think creatively and to be analytical and so on. But I'm going to single out one thing that maybe is above, all of those because we want to be thinkers, we want to be creative, um, and that is communication skills, which of course is a lot of different things bundled together. But what's important for success in business continuity, I think, more than anything else, is the ability to communicate the value of the work we do. Um, so that could be in a number of ways. It could be explaining to people in a department of why we need to do a business impact analysis, and then teaching them how to do it and guiding them through it and helping them to do it. Um, so communicating how we do things, but at the same time explaining why we need to do them and why is this valuable. But of course, not just dealing with people in a department to gather data for BAA, but upward communication of why this work is valuable. And it's a perennial challenge. It's been there forever, and I'm sure it's still there for many people today, is getting that buy-in from senior management or getting commitment, getting support, getting funding. In order to get all of those things from top management in an organization, they have to believe that this is worth doing. They have to understand the concepts of good business continuity management or good risk management or good resilience, and be prepared to support the activities needed to do it. So that often falls onto the shoulders of the business continuity management professional to be able to do the convincing, to be able to demonstrate, the value of this work. And that's no small thing to be able to do that, but it does require communication skills. And I would, again, I think I'd single that out maybe above everything else, because if you can't do that, then you're always going to be, like walking uphill or
Yeah,
pushing into the wind.
yeah.
So conviction and communicating that where it needs to be communicated up and down in the organization.
And I think there was something you had mentioned at a presentation a few years ago that I saw you do. And you were talking communications, but you added a piece as well. And I'm going to simplify it, but you said it's not just talking to these people, it's listening to these people as well.
Oh yeah,
Communication isn't just talking.
absolutely true. And I mean, this is true in everyday life, not unique to business continuity management. But if you're going to be a good communicator, you better be a good listener. Because I say this with absolute honesty, I never stop learning. Um, or, I'm explaining the methodology to you, but as we discuss it and as we work through it, there may be ways that we can improve it. So yeah, listening is it is part of that communication skill set which really is a set of different things,
Yeah.
a variety of techniques that add up to effective communications. Absolutely right.
You talked about improving. So, do you have thoughts about some of the newer, younger generation that are coming in that want to change things up a little bit or come up with new methodologies? Do you have any thoughts or ideas you'd like to share there?
Well, I mean, I've been saying, I get, well, the foundation is solid and we don't need to change, and the practices have never changed. But they have. I mean, in a way, the fundamentals haven't changed, but the subtleties of how we do things, it never stops changing. And I think, and I've observed this firsthand when I talk to younger practitioners, and I like to do that. So conferences and so on that you and I both attend is one of the places to do that. We have to be open to new ideas, and I love fresh perspectives. And I would say that newcomers in the profession should be encouraged to experiment with certain things, whether it's technology stuff or different methods of communicating, whatever it is, they should feel empowered to bring new ideas, bring new approaches, try things out, as long as it's not to the detriment of what has already been proven year after year, almost decade after decade, to be really rock solid. So I would say I welcome, innovation, fresh perspectives, fresh energy, um, and some of the, so-called traditional ways we do things do need to be improved. And, we usually talk about BAA as an example of that, but oh my goodness. Sometimes we really need that breath of fresh air or try a new approach or recognize that the way we're trying to do something might actually be horribly inefficient, or the only reason we have for doing it this way is that that's the way we've always done it for the last 35 years. What a
Yeah.
terrible reason for doing something. So I think fundamentally we just need to be open to fresh ideas, fresh perspectives, new energy, and this kind of dialogue that we're having. Hopefully, some of the audience for this will be younger people. Um, let's broker that conversation between the fossil generation and the youngsters and say, I can help you understand what this means. You can help me understand how to bring new technology to bear on making this happen more efficiently, or just leading us in a new direction. Just make sure that we don't throw anything away that is still valuable in how we used to do things. So yeah, innovation, freshness, new practitioners, please, the more the merrier. I've been a teacher off and on for 20 years, and I've almost enjoyed that more than anything else. Teaching business continuity and listening and learning from teaching young people, how to do this. And they end up quite often smarter than me because they've, they're up to date on their technology, or they got the energy that they're prepared to put into trying new things.
Well, I'm going to jump on that point. Where do you see the industry going then? Because you've seen a lot of change. You're open to new ideas, and building upon things. So where do you see things in our industry going?
That's such a nice question because I do not have a crystal ball. I think, again, big picture, looking at trends over the years, and I talked about, distributed processing, risk management. I think there's fundamentally, has been for a while and still is, a movement towards just naturally becoming more resilient in how we operate our organizations. I mean, for me, resilience is an outcome and it's a desirable goal. We want to become more resilient. We want to build that. One of the core sets of things we do to achieve that is we call it business continuity management. We do all these things in the interests of becoming more resilient. So I think there's a natural evolution in that direction, but we're not all the way there yet. Because the ultimate goal in a perfect world would be everything is seamlessly interoperable and perfectly redundant and
Yeah.
ultimately resilient and indestructible. And we've learned a lot in recent years about the value of remote work. You distribute the risk across not just 2 sites or 4 sites, but maybe 1,000 employees, working in 1,000 different places. That can get out of hand because then you lose a lot of control. But there is a general movement towards naturally improved a stronger resilience, I think, and we need to nurture that. So resilience by design, an expression I've been using for 15 or 20 years, which I think might be the byline or the subtext for DRJ's next conference, resilience by design. It's a powerful, powerful concept because resilience is an outcome we need and we aspire to. And how do we best achieve it? Not by being good at recovering after a failure, it's by anticipating and as much as we can preventing failure, becoming less vulnerable, and just strengthening how we operate. Ultimately, for me, the ultimate goal, I go beyond just saying we want to be resilient, I want to be sustainable. If our organization isn't sustainable, eventually it will die. It will wither and die, or it'll be brought down to its knees by a failure. There's more types of failure than purely operational ones. There can be financial crashes and so on. But ultimately, we need the organizations to be sustainable. So I think just perpetuating that push towards improving resilience, strengthening our infrastructure, physical infrastructure, and of course, people. So getting people into resilient mindset also. So that we have strength, robustness, and resilience in our physical infrastructure, in our people, in our processes. And it's never going to be perfect. We're never going to be indestructible. Things will still break. But, we can keep improving the odds by doing all these kinds of things. So I think we're pointing in the right direction. Keep the faith.
We've got 2 minutes left. Would you like to take a
Awesome.
minute to share any last thought that you'd like all of us to know? Wise
Wow.
words of wisdom or
But I
couple
just
lines?
exhausted my last thoughts in what I was just saying. No, joking aside, I obviously believe that business continuity management is a very worthwhile profession, a noble profession, and long may it continue. It's kind of been thriving and growing for all these many years. There's a lot of people of my vintage who are exiting, by retiring or just, leaving the profession one way or another. And that's okay. That's just demographics at work. But I really hope that there is a knowledge transfer going on. I certainly do everything I can to try and contribute to it by finding different groups, forums, conferences to interact with younger people. So I hope there will be a healthy inflow of new professionals and that they will take what we've learned that hopefully we're sharing with them and kind of run with it. So I guess that maybe is my parting thought is knowledge transfer is a two-way street. And those of us at my end of career have, I think, an obligation to do some of the transferring and encouraging newcomers to receive and digest and then kind of and run with it. And I'll be on your side as you do that.
Well, Des, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for sharing all your stories and ideas and your journey really through our business continuity resilience industry from way back in, I think you said 85?
89 is when I got into it.
89 to
Yeah,
today.
but a few things were already happening.
That's a long time. And here's a food for thought. I was thinking about it. Between you and I, we have about 65 years of experience.
Okay. I've been on panel
Isn't it a
discussions where
bit
you look to the left, you
sobering?
look to the right. We have 100 years up here on and then it gets depressing. But anyway, I've got the hair color to prove it.
Yeah, I'm getting mine too. So
Well, anyway, thank you. I've enjoyed this a lot, Alex. Thank you.
great. Well, it was wonderful talking with you. I really appreciate it. And everyone watching and listening, stay prepared, everybody. If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave me a message and let me know your thoughts. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. And in the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.